Welcome to Victorian England, a fascinating time. It was an era of great progress and invention, but for many it was also a time of hardship. People faced many illnesses and discomforts. They searched for ways to ease their suffering. They longed for relief from their daily aches. Often their search led them to a small, dark bottle. This unassuming bottle held a powerful secret. It promised comfort, but it also hid a danger. What exactly was in this bottle, you might ask? The substance was called laudanum. Laudanum was a very common medicine back then. It was made from opium, a potent drug. Opium itself comes from the beautiful poppy flower. This opium was then dissolved in alcohol. The result was a strong, reddish-brown liquid tincture. It was readily available to almost everyone, and it was considered quite normal to use. Laudanum was truly everywhere in Victorian society. You did not need a doctor's special note. You could simply walk into a chemist's shop. You could even buy it from your local grocer, or perhaps from a traveling salesman. It was surprisingly cheap to purchase. This meant that both wealthy ladies and poor workers could afford it. It was marketed as a cure for almost everything. A remarkable cure-all for a busy and often ailing age. Doctors frequently prescribed laudanum for coughs. They recommended it for all sorts of pain. It was even given to restless, crying babies. Soothing syrups for infants often contained laudanum. These were sometimes called mother's friend. Most people genuinely believed it was a safe remedy. They did not fully understand the risks involved. This widespread trust contributed to its immense popularity. Laudanum became a common item in many households. So why did so many Victorians turn to laudanum? One major reason was that it offered an escape. Life could be very tough in the 19th century. Disease, long working hours, and poverty were common. Laudanum seemed to make these worries fade away. It could bring a feeling of warmth and calm. It provided a temporary retreat from a harsh reality. For many, it was a quick and easy fix. It was a moment of peace. Laudanum was also famously linked with creativity. Many well-known writers and artists used it. You might have heard of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He was a famous romantic poet. He claimed that his fantastical poem, Kubla Khan, was inspired by an opium-induced dream. The celebrated poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning also used laudanum. She relied on it for many years. It helped her manage severe pain and illness. Many creative individuals believed laudanum helped them. They thought it unlocked hidden parts of their minds. It seemed to spark new ideas and inspiration. They felt it enhanced their artistic abilities. They could produce wonderful poems, paintings, or music. Or at least this was the perception for a while. The drug whispered tempting promises of genius and insight. This made it very attractive to the artistic community. For ordinary people, the reasons were often more practical. Laudanum could ease a throbbing toothache effectively. It could calm frayed nerves after a stressful day. It helped people sleep soundly, especially on cold nights. It was used to treat common problems like diarrhea or cholera. In an age with few effective medicines, it seemed like a miracle. A true comfort in a bottle for difficult times. It brought quick, if fleeting, relief. However, this supposed miracle medicine had a terrible secret. Laudanum was extremely addictive, a fact not widely understood. Opium, its main ingredient, is a powerful narcotic. People who used laudanum regularly started to need more. They needed higher doses to get the same effect. Soon, many found they could not stop taking it. Their bodies began to crave the drug constantly. This was a dreadful and often unseen trap. Addiction to laudanum drastically changed people's lives, and it was always for the worse. Users became physically and mentally dependent. If they tried to stop, they suffered terribly. This suffering is known as withdrawal. Symptoms included shaking, sweating, and muscle cramps. They experienced severe pain and sickness. Their entire existence began to revolve around getting the next dose. It insidiously stole their health, their money, and their happiness. We know of famous cases like Branwell Bronte. He was the brother of the talented Bronte sisters. His life story is a sad illustration of addiction. He became heavily dependent on laudanum. This dependency affected his artistic ambitions. It ruined his health and his relationships. It sadly contributed to his premature death. But countless ordinary families also suffered deeply. They watched helplessly as loved ones were consumed by the drug. Addiction did not discriminate by social class. The pleasant feelings that laudanum initially provided were deceptive. They were always temporary and fleeting. The negative consequences, however, were long-lasting and devastating. People lost their employment and their social standing. Families were torn apart by the strain. Physical health was completely undermined. The dream that seemed to be in the bottle slowly twisted. For so many users, it transformed into a waking nightmare. The price of this escape was terribly high. Gradually, awareness began to spread throughout society. The significant dangers of laudanum became much clearer. Doctors and scientists started to observe the patterns. They witnessed the heartbreaking effects of addiction. They saw firsthand the ruined lives and families. More concerned individuals began to raise their voices. They started to warn the public about this popular medicine. The truth about laudanum was slowly, but surely, emerging from the shadows. As understanding grew, laws started to change. A key moment in Britain was the Pharmacy Act of 1868. This new law brought in important controls. Laudanum and other opiates had to be clearly labelled. The label had to state poison. Furthermore, only registered chemists were allowed to sell it. This was a very significant step. It made laudanum more difficult to obtain casually. It also made people think more carefully before using it. Other developments also helped to reduce its use. Scientists were working on new, safer medicines. A major breakthrough was aspirin, which appeared in 1899. Aspirin could relieve pain effectively. Crucially, it was not addictive like laudanum. As such alternatives became available, laudanum's popularity declined. People had better and safer choices for their ailments. Science was beginning to offer new hope. The era of laudanum was drawing to a close, yet the story of laudanum still holds importance for us today. It teaches us valuable lessons about drug use. It shows how a widely accepted cure can cause widespread harm. It serves as a stark reminder to always be cautious. We need to understand the substances we use. The Victorian obsession with laudanum is a powerful cautionary tale. It is a lesson etched into the pages of history, and it is one we should always remember.